So let's start off on the iPhone side of things, and let's start by adding in a phone. So in your phone there, you're going to go Bluetooth, make sure you're there, and you're going to go add device, and we're searching for Uconnect. Showed up. Pins match up. So let's pair. Allow contacts and favorites to sync. I'm going to say don't allow. Obviously, if it's your car, you would say allow there. Perfect. And do I want to use CarPlay with the phone as well? So that's one nice thing. You don't have to use CarPlay if you don't want to. You can just hook up over Bluetooth to stream audio that way. If you wanted to listen to songs instead, if you wanted to make phone calls and things like that, you can do that without hooking up to CarPlay. But one of the nice things about Uconnect 5 is that it is wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. So let's go through and let's set it up. So we're going to go use CarPlay. Follow instructions on your device. So it should be connecting now. Yeah, it's trying to connect, connected, and boom, look at that. Beautiful. Nice and responsive along the side there. This is really nice. I like the colors, like the color scheme, it just pops really nicely here. You've got your current time, your connection level, battery level, which map was open last, which music application was opened, and which miscellaneous application was opened. From there, you can also go home or back to the icon view instead, which you can also just kind of move across in order to get to it. But this is your map, obviously. You've got what navigation options are available, your audio, and then just miscellaneous there. So this is kind of neat because depending on the map application you've opened up, that's going to adjust what's there. You can search for previous destinations in Apple Maps, find destinations. You've got your different headings that are available, so 2D, 3D, etc. No pinch to zoom, unfortunately. That's the one thing I don't like. No pinch to zoom available options there, but you can easily adjust out. Oh, can't even do a drag and drop there. That's super disappointing there. All right, and then once you're done, back. I think Google Maps is pretty much the same way here. So Google Maps, you can at least move around with your finger, which is good. But if you wanted to zoom in and out, you'd have to go this way instead because there's no pinch to zoom capabilities. You can search for destinations, previous destinations, or you can look at route options. So if you wanted to avoid highways, toll roads, and ferries, if you wanted to change out map colors, traffic, if you wanted to show that, yay or nay, it's kind of neat that it's available. And then Waze is the exact same thing. So there's no pinch to zoom capabilities, but there's drag and drop. You could push there if you wanted to report different things as well. And then all sorts of different applications available for media. So if you wanted to listen to your podcast, you'd have the flexibility to be able to do it. You've got different options available there. So Hoopla is a library app, Live One is a radio app. So there are a ton of different apps that are available. One thing though is that you don't have the flexibility of being able to watch video on the screen. So regardless of the app that you're connected to, this thing doesn't have support for that type of playback yet. Like fingers crossed, hopefully it's coming soon, but as of right now, no video playback. It still is straightforward. You can push this little CarPlay button there as well if you wanted to launch back into your phone or go to the device manager, which we'll go into in just a second. Because first, on your phone, you could go to your settings. If you go to General, CarPlay, find your vehicle, and then you'd have the flexibility of being able to either forget it, delete it, and then you can customize as well. So let's say if you're not a fan, you don't care about having Zoom on there, you don't want to have YouTube Music on there or WhatsApp, you can delete it. So it removes them fully from the screen. But then you'd also have the flexibility of being able to do a drag and drop in order to be able to adjust this thing out a little bit more. So if you wanted to listen to your podcast and a few other things, you'd have that flexibility to be able to do it. If you don't like what you've done too much, you're like, what have I done? You can push reset along the very top of your phone there in order to reset this thing back to the factory default layout screen instead. So I know that's quite a lot of info, but that's how you set up Apple CarPlay. The only other thing to point out is that on the steering wheel, if you do a longer press and hold of the voice command prompt button, that's also going to launch into your Siri assistant. Pushing this button, launch Uconnect phone or go back to the device manager. So you can see there I'm currently hooked up through Apple CarPlay. If you wanted to disconnect, all you're going to do is just tap. Do you want to end your CarPlay session? Yes. And then it's connected back to the phone for Bluetooth for both phone calls and for audio. So I know that's quite a little bit of info, but that's how you set up an iPhone inside of Uconnect 5. Setting up an Android is the exact same process as the iPhone. So if you weren't on this screen, let's say if you were back on the home screen, all you're going to do is go into phone there, device manager, and that brings you into this subscreen instead. Again, all we're going to do, just add device. On your phone, you're looking for that Uconnect. Perfect. Let's pair. Yes. Okay. Do you want to use Android Auto? So it's that simple. I'm going to say deny for messages and contacts. Again, if this is your car, you would say yes if you wanted to. And then hit OK. And then a few seconds in, so fully connected there. It's connecting now to Android Auto. So it'll just take a second to connect through, and here we go. So do I want to connect through Android Auto? Yes. Boom. Just like that. Fully connected there. You can see you've got maps, so it's a little split view instead. So kind of similar, but not from the Apple CarPlay side of things. So you've got an interesting little display. You can go to this little icon view there instead if you want to. Back to the little split view. You've got your Google Assistant there too, so you can button press to bring that up, or you can do a long hold on the steering wheel button instead if you wanted to activate your Google Assistant that way. You've got your map, which you can go full screen there instead if you want, which is kind of cool. So you go full screen. I like that. You could also push there in order to get to different things. So showing traffic, route options. Do you want to avoid toll roads, ferries, and things like that? Back to your basic settings. Search for addresses that way. But one thing I like about the Android Auto side of things is that this pinch to zoom capabilities instead, back to a recenter, which I like that. You can go back to your little split screen. You've got a few different things, some map applications, your phone, a few other things available there too. Your current time, connection status, connection priorities, and things like that. Or back to this little icon view. So this screen does have the flexibility for Androids of being able to support both Google Maps and Waze. For some people, Waze may not be working properly. So if that's the case for your Android phone, I've put together a little walkthrough video. You can find that down in the description of this video, showing you how to actually set up and use Waze inside of Android devices. Very straightforward to do. But if you push this button, like same idea, you can go back and launch Uconnect Phone or your device manager. Or on your phone, if you search for Android Auto, it's going to pull up Android Auto settings. So you're just going to go Android Auto, and you've got a few different options there. So you can customize the launcher. You can turn off Android Auto when the phone's locked. You can also do a few other things. So the big one here, though, is going to be customized launcher. So you'd have the flexibility of being able to do a drag and drop in order to be able to adjust it. But one thing is that you have to shut down Android Auto, so hop out of it and launch back in for Android Auto setting changes to take into effect. So it's not dynamic the same way that the iPhone side of things was, but it is available there as an option. And then your hidden apps are all the different apps that you've essentially deselected. So you could push in order to bring them back, and then just do a drag and drop in order to customize it. But like I said, shut down Android Auto, relaunch for those changes to take into effect. But you can go back into Device Manager if you wanted to, push back in order to get to Android Auto, back to Device Manager. And this is one neat thing. So you could be connected to either Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, but you've also had the flexibility of being able to connect to either one of these four. So you can have one phone connected for your phone, one phone connected for your audio. So it's really useful if you've got multiple phones with different functionality for yourself. If you wanted to, you can push there in order to make a phone the favorite. You can enable phone, charge only mode, or you can delete the device. So let's delete the iPhone, which means that the Galaxy is the only one connected. Same idea if you want to delete, you move, delete device, and yes. And the phones are disconnected, and it's that easy setting up Android and iPhone devices inside of the Uconnect infotainment system.